What you're looking at is a population of Palmer amaranth that has multiple resistance, where it's resistant to both glyphosate and much of the ALS herbicide chemistry. What you're looking at is Palmer amaranth that was treated when it was 2 inches tall with 176 ounces of Roundup Weathermax plus 15 ounces of Staple LX. We were not able to control the population when it was 2 inches tall. It's the multiple resistance to glyphosate and ALS herbicide chemistry, because now we have no over-the-top herbicide that we can spray in Roundup Ready cotton to control this pest.
It's gone on from the time we've come out with different herbicides. That's not new. It's gone on since we've had herbicides starting in the 40s. What is unique though is in the past, as weeds develop resistance to a herbicide or herbicide chemistry, there's been enough research and development in the chemical industry to come out with a new herbicide that would kind of bail us out. And as we got into the 90s, the last one was the ALS chemistries, the staples we used in cotton.
There is currently nothing in the pipeline from an experimental standpoint, a new mode of action that we're going to be able to use in these crops. When we talk about glyphosate or begin to look at its history of resistance here within the state of Arkansas, in 2003 we found our first glyphosate-resistant horseweed. Shortly thereafter we found glyphosate-resistant common ragweed, glyphosate-resistant giant ragweed, glyphosate-resistant Palmer amaranth. We now have Johnson grass and also ryegrass that have evolved resistance to glyphosate. Generally speaking, we need to be making our herbicide applications on 2 to 3 inch Palmer amaranth. If you take a look at my hand, you can have a rough estimate again of the size of these plants.
With the glyphosate-resistant pigweed, one of the things is just how tall it grows. It can get up over 6 foot very easily. It can grow over 1 inch to 2 inches a day. And what that means for a producer is that pigweed that is 4 to 6 inches tall, which is about as tall as we can get with an Ignite application, it can move from that to something 8 to 10 inches tall that no herbicide is going to control in a matter of 3 or 4 days.
Palmer amaranth is so prolific, it can go from one season with very little problem to your whole farm's covered the next year.
Herbicide-resistant weeds first showed up on our farm in the year 2002. We first started with mare's tail as our main problem. We have since moved forward in having more trouble with pigweed resistance in the last 2 years. Starting in 2006, we started showing just signs, but we thought were missprays. Instead, they were resistant pigweeds.
As early as the mid to late 90s, we saw herbicide-resistant pigweeds or ALS-resistant pigweeds. And that's what drove us to begin to look for other technologies. And so I'd say from the mid-1990s on, we began to see different resistance to different chemistries. Of course, the big one was glyphosate resistance, which is facing us now. First resistance we've seen to glyphosate has been horseweed or mare's tail.
Herbicide-resistant weeds are starting to affect our farm. We're having to get hand labor to go in and clean these situations up. We're starting to have to look at other crops that we can substitute in on those particular fields so we can change the chemistry up to try to eliminate this problem before it gets widespread.
Our resistance problem started in '06, and in '07 we kind of got out of hand with us, and in '08 we were determined to, if it was overkill, not to have the problem or try to control the problem.
And we can very easily look at adding over the past few years $100 per acre. So we're looking at, several hundreds of thousands of dollars that resistance management is costing us. It's something that's not just the neighbor's problem, it's our problem, and if we don't hit it head on, we're going to be in big trouble.
That one plant has now produced a population of glyphosate-resistant pigweed that infest about 2 to 4 acres in size. At the end of 3 years, that one plant now has a population in a field that's covering 40 to 50 acres in size. The importance of Palmer amaranth is it is an extensive seed producer. One reason we'd better assume that it is resistant is because this one plant here can produce in excess of 500,000 seed per plant. The seed is going to lie in the soil seed bank, we found, for at least up to 4 years.